am so excited because I get to reunite with my friend Meg Rentschler. And I am so excited. Meg, it's been forever. How long?
Kenya, it has been a long time. And when I got your email saying, "Do you want to do this?" I was like, who wouldn't want to spend time with Daniel Smith? It has probably been, I'm guessing that you were one of my first 50 guests on my show. And my show is now at like 250.
That's
So it's
crazy.
been a few minutes since we were together.
That is
Yes,
crazy. Time just flies.
it
Well,
does.
look, you need to know who Meg is. So I'm going to give you the skinny first. I'm going to give you her official bio, but I will tell you that Meg is one of the warmest, most genuine people that I've ever met. I remember the interview because it was probably one of my very first times actually doing an interview. And as nervous as I was, I remember you made it so easy for me to do. In fact, I remember the interview so much that I forgot we're actually like we saw each other and met each other in person here in the Dallas area first.
We did.
So
And it was when you were doing a presentation and you were so good. I was like, I've got to get her on my show. So I like beeline to you and introduced myself and we connected and you were like, yeah, I'll do your show.
yes. So enough about me though, because it's your time. So Meg is a professional certified coach and a clinical social worker. I can see that now. Yeah. Her coaching practice, a focus on results coaching, allows her to focus on two passions. One is partnering with executives and leaders to function in a way that promotes the health and well being of themselves, their teams, and their companies while increasing productive communication. Two, helping other coaches reach their potential, stretch their muscles, and build their skills and confidence as coaches through through coaching, mentoring, teaching, and hosting her weekly podcast, The Star Coach Show. And that Star Coach Show provides strategies, tools, and resources for professional coaches. You can find out more at starcoachshow.com. I'm definitely going to be popping up that website here shortly. Meg, as far as educational background, you have a wealth of knowledge with your Bachelor of Science from Michigan State University. You hold a graduate certificate in executive and professional coaching from the University of Texas at Dallas. That's where my daughter goes to school now. Yes, and you live in the North Texas area with your husband, and two adult sons are also in your family circle. So, very
Yeah.
thrilled and excited that you're here, Meg.
Very thrilled and excited to be here with you.
So, look, I have to ask this question because I love the bios and I'm giving all the official stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
what's not in your bio that you want people to know about Meg?
Hmm. Well, so I think that one of the things that makes me who I am, that's not in a bio, is that I'm one of 9 children, and I am the youngest girl, and was born the first child born after my brother Kevin died as an infant. And I think that there is something about how we come into the world, the place that we have, and the system that we are in. So, in that situation, my family system, to help create who I am and just have this drive to help people overcome obstacles and tap into joy. I really believe in my heart that that's part of the reason why I'm here on earth, to help my family heal after their loss, and that's just been sort of woven into everything I do in my life.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I honestly, I can see that. I can see that with what you're saying because just you as a person, you seem like a joyful person. You're happy and you're bright. You glow even now as I'm looking at your video. Like she just has this genuineness about her. And not everyone can really kind of pull that off. But that is one of the reasons I think that you probably have been so successful with doing your show At least that's my thought, having
Well,
seen several of your episodes.
well, I appreciate that. Thank you. My mom said, "You were born with a smile on your face." And I said, "Mom, you couldn't see what I was born with from where
Oh
you
my
were. So it's all
God.
good." But I
That's
appreciate the
fun.
thought, Mom.
Well, tell me, when did you first start doing video? Since we're talking about video really for this
Mhm.
interview series, I want to encourage people to understand the experiences and some of the stories behind the people who are doing this regularly. So can you talk a little bit about when you first started doing video? And was it video for your show or for something else?
So when I first started doing video, it was doing. So I first started my show just doing not video. We were because that was almost 5 years ago. So it wasn't maybe as used as it is now. I started doing my interviews on video about 3.5 years ago because I found that to me, the interviews were richer and I could take pieces of those videos to have the audience connect with my guests on the show. So while the podcast is primarily an audio experience over iTunes and things like that, when you can take video and take key nuggets of information and share them across social media, then people are like, that's the person that's sharing that great wisdom that I'm hearing. I know that
Hmm.
when I listen to different podcasts, I'll like look up who's this guest and what do they look. I don't know. It helps me to like see their face. I feel more connected with them. And I decided that if I felt that way, maybe other people feel that way too. So I started, as soon as I started doing video for my interviews, knowing that I was just going to use pieces of that, I also asked my guests to do a teaser with me at the end of each interview. So we'd create the interview and then I re-record, and I start the recording again and I introduce myself and then I introduce the guest and say, Tanya Smith, what are people going to learn when they listen to the interview we just did? And then my guest is able to kind of highlight some of the key things, and that is shared with them and shared with the audience through different social media platforms so that
Wow.
and I will tell you, I have, like I said, interviewed over 200 people and I consistently get, wow, I'm on podcasts all the time and I've never done a teaser. That's a great idea. So it's just one of those ways that if I'm looking through LinkedIn and seeing, oh, there's a video there. What is that video? It allows them to like tap into who my guest is and what their specialty is right off the bat and decide if they're going to click on that link and listen to the show.
That is super smart. And I honestly hadn't even thought of that at all. So I agree. That is, I've never seen that, but it's really, it makes for a great way to repurpose content and to spotlight the person that you're talking to. That's awesome.
Right. And then people
I
are
might,
like,
I might be adding that, Meg.
well, you know what? Go for, and then often I'll have, because many times the guests that I interview have their own podcast and they'll say, can I steal this? And I'm like, go for it. The more the merrier. We're not about scarcity here. We're about abundance.
That's right. That's exactly right. What made you come up with the name of your show, by the way? I'm curious.
So the Star Coach Show, if anybody actually sees it, the S, the T, and the R are capitalized. So it's an acronym. I was like brainstorming with an accountability partner many years ago. And I was, this is what I want my show to be about. I want it to share strategies. I want to give different tools. I want to provide resources. And I was writing it down on a sheet of paper. And I was like, oh, that spells out star. And so I thought, okay, Star Coaches, strategies, tools, and resources for professional coaches. And that's that. So I occasionally get teased like, oh, like Star Search. 100 years ago there was a show like Star Search,
Remember that.
and I'll be like, well, you know what? And even in my intro, it's like, let's connect you with your star coaching potential. So you can kind of use it both ways, and it's kind of fun that way.
That is awesome. Of course, who else would think of something as smart as that? But you. So when you started coming up with this whole idea for a show, like you said, it started off with audio and
Mhm.
eventually you moved into the video space because you saw opportunity, which seems to be a recurring theme with the people that I'm
Mhm.
speaking to, is that there's opportunity to reach a broader audience or to make a deeper connection through
Right.
video.
Right.
But were there any roadblocks? Was there anything that told you, you know what, I'm not sure that video is right for me? Did you ever have a moment where you kind of second guessed yourself?
I think those moments come from I decided about a year and a half ago to do Facebook Lives every Wednesday morning.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes, we're all going to hit, sometimes it flows and there's people there and they're asking questions. And sometimes you're there all by yourself and you're like,
Yeah.
am I creating an impact? Does this matter? I look horrible this morning, or
I
whatever.
feel
Yeah,
horrible.
I feel horrible this morning. Is this message really resonating? And very truthfully, sometimes I get weird messages from people like, I really want to be your friend, or then it's like, okay, and it's
For
if
you.
yeah, it's like, okay, is what's really, I don't know you, I don't know anything, what's going on with this, and not even this, you get sort of the vibe that maybe it's not even like friends on Facebook. It's just kind of weird. So with that's just kind of a fun, kind of not kind of weird fun thing, but like in general, what I would say is that sometimes I question myself. So then I think, should I do more than once a week? So right now I'm experimenting with doing twice a week. Um, you have to wonder, like, when's the best time for my
Right.
audience? All those kinds of things make me think all the time, make me think, do I want to shake it up a little? I did take a break from Facebook Live for like a month and a half because there were so many different things going on. And then I thought, I like consistency. And should I
Yeah.
not have stopped even for that month and a half? So, yeah, do I question myself? Certainly. And in general, I will say that the positive of that, though, is that I have a year and a half full of content from doing these 15 to 30-minute talking everything coaching, to because my audience tends to be, I do the Facebook Live primarily to my star coach audience, which tends to
Ah,
be coaches but also can be leaders. So it's really focusing on how do we bring our best forward as coaches.
how do you come up with topics? Since you're doing this on a consistent basis, sometimes twice a week, how do you
Mm-hmm.
decide this is going to be what I'm going to talk about?
I so Wednesday, I picked Wednesdays because my show goes live on Wednesdays. So what I like to do on the Wednesday is to set up the show that came out. So if I had a show that is about, like the show that came out this week is a coach sharing his journey from how he went from being a leader in corporate America to being a leadership coach. And what I share, I don't like repeat everything he says in his show, but what I took from that is, how can we learn from the people who walk the path before us? And then I
Mm,
like to be able to create some content around, let's learn from, we don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. And so Wednesdays I feel like are kind of easy because I'm picking some nugget and building on it myself. Fridays, Fridays I sort of look at as my own personal development. I like to share some of the struggles that I've been through and how I got past that struggle. And I invite questions. I invite people to send me email questions as well. And if I get any of those, I like to answer them on Fridays. Um, in addition to that, I work with people all the time. So if I get asked a question more than once, I'm like, that's probably uh, a Facebook Live. Just
yeah.
answer that question.
As you're thinking through your topics and you're coming up with your plan, your game plan, it's not, here's the thing. This is why I asked that question,
Mm-hmm.
because I often get the question, what should I post? I don't have anything to talk about. And there are some people who are planners and they plan out like a whole entire year of content. And that's not me.
That's not me either. And
That's not
often
me.
Often I'm coming up with it almost a half an hour before I go live. What inspires me at that moment?
Yep.
My coach tells us, my coach is like, we need to get out there. We need to get out there, get out there. So one trick I've learned from him that I'll share with all of you is that anytime during the week something comes up that hits me as, oh, that's inspirational, or that's something that I could talk about, or and just earlier today, a client said something, and I thought that's a great topic for a Facebook Live. So what do? I write it on a Post-it note and I stick it on this big sheet of white paper that I have on my office wall that's full of just little nuggets of information that if I am about to do a Facebook Live and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? 15 minutes from now, I'm going to pull down one of those stickies and I'm going to talk about it.
That's
It doesn't have to be
perfect.
like, it doesn't have to be thought out, bullet pointed. Think of it. What's
Yeah.
inspiring you at the moment?
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I was very type A. So I used to try to plan it out, and I had, my 52 weeks and, 4 buckets and 13 themes, which I still do teach for those who like that type of approach so
Mm-hmm.
that they have something like foundational. But what I found is that I end up straying away from it and doing exactly what you said, and whatever is hitting me for that week, or something that inspires me, or a trend that's changed in the space, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to talk about. So I love that you kind of just validated that for me.
Well, and there is a recurring theme. It's how
Yeah,
do we? So I'm not necessarily like talking about biochemistry one week and then
right.
garbage collection the next week or whatever. I'm like, actually, everything is pulled together in how are we showing up and being the best we can be and bringing coaching into the world.
Yes.
And what is it about that today that's inspiring me about that?
I love that. I love that. So what I think I'm getting from what you're sharing, and I hope that everyone who's listening and watching is getting this too, is that even if you don't plan out in advance, you do want to have consistency in terms of the timing,
Mm-hmm.
so that people can rely on you being present on video. But you also want to have some consistency in terms of the themes and categories of topics that you talk about. Don't be all over the place, because it makes it difficult for people to know that they're in the right space with you.
Right.
Garbage collection is a totally different topic than
Biochemistry or
neuroscience
whatever. Yes,
or
exactly.
biochemistry. All right. So, what advice would you give someone who is brand new, just like they're trying to put their toe in the water to do more video, and they are just about to get out there? What would be the piece of advice that you would share that hopefully would take them over the edge and like help them to fly out of the nest?
Right. It doesn't have to be perfect. It is about connection. So if you show up just authentically, even if you say, gosh, this is the first time I've done this and I'm kind of nervous and I'm glad you're here with me to or even if you're talking to an empty space, people will see it because it's going to go into your feed. So act as if you are talking to whoever it is that you're trying to deliver that message to. And the key thing is just do it. I mean, I know this isn't Nike, but it's get out there. You will get better every time you do it. It's going to be, you'll look back. I look back, Tanya, at my first shows and I cringe like, oh, but there's still people getting value from those shows. I
Yeah.
look at some of my Facebook Lives and think, oh, I should, but you know what? There's comments there and there's people that are getting value from it. And when they all come together, it gives me things to repurpose. So my point being that it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done. It just needs to be done. And somebody needs to hear what you need to say. And if you never say it, it's costing somebody else. So share
That's
your
right.
message, get out there. And it's okay if you stumble or if you, I had a coughing fit once during one of my Facebook Lives and I couldn't stop. I mean, it was a coughing fit and I just was apologizing and it was just awful. But you know what? People were like, it's okay, take your time, get some water. It was awful. But you know what? I'm still here to talk about it.
Yeah, and still going. You didn't say, "Oh, that now I'm never doing another live again."
Right. That was
Right.
mortifying. I'm never doing another live again.
Okay, I have one last question for you, and this is related to your favorite purchase that's related to video. What's the one thing that you just can't live without when it comes to video?
It's my lighting. So in when you look in shadow or that your face is not lit, you need to be lit from the front. And very truthfully, everything else isn't as important to me as like getting good lighting on your face. And that's true because I also teach on video. I teach on video all the time, many times 3 nights a week. It's,
Mhm.
you know, when they can see their instructor and feel like she's alive, that's important. And it's the same kind of thing in, anytime I'm engaged on, I see all my clients on video. I mean, it's just I'm on video all the time. If I didn't have front lighting, I think I would just be like, never mind, I'm not gonna be here. So that's what I would say. My big ring light.
I love the lighting too. And yeah, you absolutely have a beautiful setup and it still looks warm and cozy and just I love what you do, Meg. Just know that.
Well, I
I'm a
love being
fan.
invited to be here with you. Thank you so much. And you help doing this series to help people get over themselves. We all need to get over ourselves and just like bring it forward. And
Yeah.
um and so you doing this to help give that confidence and that little push out of the nest, I commend you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we have to make sure we share with people a couple of little goodies that you shared with me to pass on. First of all, I want to make sure everybody can get in touch with Meg. I should have probably popped this up earlier, but I mentioned the Star Coach Show. So go to starcoachshow.com and you can see there. Are people able to see previous podcasts and interviews that you've
Absolutely.
done?
Not, I mean,
Awesome.
everyone is there, and they're divided into, skill developing shows about building your business, and then shows about leadership and how to be a strong leader and how to coach in organizations. So they're all divvied up. There's also play around, have a good time, and there's a contact me page if you want to shoot me a message. I'll get back with you.
And I'm also going to share one more thing. It's a goodie that we have from Meg. It's a wisdom guide. So you want to write this down. And what I'll also do, Meg, is I'll make sure I link this inside of the comments for our show.
Perfect.
So I want to make sure that you all go and grab this wisdom guide. I think it's called Things I Wish I Knew or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
I asked coaches who've been coaching 20 or more years, what do you know now that you wished you'd known when you first started coaching? And this is my wisdom and wisdom that they, sent in. It's just this download for you about it's like having a mentor coach in your pocket.
Love that. Love it, love it, love it. There's so many things I would have told myself 15, 20, 25 years ago that I know now and did not know back then.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing both of those. I'm going to pop your main website up again as well. Once again, I appreciate you so much taking the time, Meg, because I know you've got a busy schedule. I know that you're talking with others and getting the interviews, but I hope it was nice to be interviewed for
It was lovely to be in the other chair.
and I'm just going to make sure that I share this so that so many people see your brilliance and get the wisdom from this show. Get the wisdom from this episode because, like I said, you've been in media for some time. It's not like it was easy, but you stay consistent. And this is why I think you do so well. Just pleasant and your authentic self shines through everything you do. So I want other people to see that and to see that they can too do video and be present online in media. So thank you for demonstrating that just through the way you live and work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.